Okay, I am here to, like I said in that post that I made today when I'm recording this, I don't know when I upload this, I'm going to be reviewing my most watched, most popular video or theory video that I've done. I don't know, I'm going to be reviewing it, seeing if it's debunked, seeing how I feel about it now, 2.5 years later. Yeah, so I'm just going to be going over it like a reaction video type thing of my own content. I don't know, I won't get copyrighted that way at least. All right, let's do it.
Golden Freddy. Fredbear. Look at them. I mean, they're the same, right? They gotta be. They look identical. Almost. And that's where the problem is that I have with this. They almost look identical, but they aren't. Why? If Scott wanted these two to be the same character, then why are they different colors?
I can field that one. I'm going to go off on a whole tangent in this video that has nothing to do with anything. The real reason, the non-game reason, is Scott made FNAF 1. That was a standalone game. He made Golden Freddy literally just a color gradient shift of Freddy. That's it. By the time FNAF 2 came around, he was like, let's just do that again. By the time FNAF 4 came around, the story was shifted to the Crying Child and shadows and purple. Everything was purple. Purple phone toy, purple robot toy, purple man, purple Fredbear. That's why. That's literally the reason. Lore-wise, I'm probably gonna get into it and I'll have to explain afterwards.
And why does Fredbear's actual design look different? It's so unnecessarily confusing.
So, why Fredbear, at least that model that I showed just there, is different is because that's real, and that's not Fredbear. That is Nightmare Fredbear. The Nightmare animatronics are real. That has been, not debunked, but like shown, evidence, proof, whatever you want to call it, confirmed by the books that William was running fear experiments on kids. I think he was running them on Dave Afton. Yes, I'm calling him Dave Afton. Crying Child, Robot, Gregory, whatever the heck you want to call the Crying Child. He was running experiments on this man to make him terrified of Fredbears. So he built these scary endoskeletons and then used fear gas or illusion disc or whatever magical MacGuffin you want to insert into that to make them look like the FNAF 4 animatronics. And that's why Fredbear looks like that. The reason the Crying Child personifies it as having a stomach mouth thing is because the thing that he saw was probably Elizabeth getting chomped by baby's mouth stomach clamp thing. That's probably the explanation. Now, for the modern interpretation of FNAF 4, it being Michael's nightmares after playing in FNAF 1, I don't know. I don't know. I like to think that the first, 5 nights or 4 nights are the Crying Child's coma dreams or whatever fear experiment. Or run that back. The first 4 or 5 nights are Michael's dreams. 6 and 7, the ones with Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear, that's the Crying Child. All right, cleared up, great.
Like, why are they so different? I mean, the obvious assumption would be that these are the same character, but
Right?
when you look at it more, you start to wonder if maybe they are different. The only, and I mean only time that we actually see Fredbear in all his glory is in UCN when you Deathcoin Golden Freddy.
Still true, right?
And you can't even really see him. But some things do stand out. Purple hat, purple bow tie, just like FNAF 4. Then there's Golden Freddy, black hat, black bow tie. Also, you have to Deathcoin Golden Freddy to get the Fredbear jump scare. That should infer that they're the same
Jesus.
guy, right? But I don't know. I think the Deathcoin jump scare is supposed to show that the vengeful spirit will not let go. The Deathcoin works on other robots because they're not real, but Golden Freddy, or Fredbear, refuses to die. And that's why Fredbear shows up. When Cassidy dies, I don't think Golden Freddy is really an animatronic that exists, only Fredbear. But
What? No. 1979, Fredbear's Family Diner already exists. We have that from Secret of the Mimic, right? So Fredbear already exists by 1979. Even if Cassidy died before the MCI, there's no way Fredbear and Fredbears wouldn't have existed yet. So scratch that. That's wrong.
Bear turns into Golden Freddy eventually, so yeah, Cassidy is Golden Freddy. But their true form is a Fredbear.
You know what? That's not bad. I mean, yeah, I would say that yes, it is Fredbear. Golden Freddy is the same animatronic. The only, in my opinion, I saw this online, not my opinion, but the reason the color is different is because, I mean, like, look at Springtrap, right? Springtrap and Fredbear, or Spring Bonnie and Fredbear are around the same era. Springtrap is green by FNAF 3. You know, it's not that far-fetched to say that Golden Freddy being also locked in a back room, you know, dirt and stuff would make his hat and bow tie go from purple to black. That's not the most far-fetched thing out there. I am losing my voice. You know, when it comes to Freddy and Fredbear, you know, obviously Golden Freddy takes after normal Freddy instead of Fredbear. That's why I think the hat's black and the bow tie is black. I think I explained that in here. I'll wait for it. I like what's on the screen. I do think that Cassidy was spring locked. There's no evidence for that whatsoever, except in Step Closer, the book. I don't know which story. The new kid. They put the kid in the Golden Freddy suit, and he gets stuck in there, and then the main character puts his arm in there, and it gets clamped down, and then he dies. So it's like the idea of someone getting spring locked in the Golden Freddy suit. That's the only thing. That's the only evidence that there is. I like it though because it would explain why Cassidy's the vengeful spirit, right? The one you should not have killed. It's never explained how or like in what manner the kids die, but Cassidy being spring locked would align with it being very brutal and enough to make them so angry, you know, because it's not a quick death, you know, so very angry and stuff to be the vengeful spirit. So I'm gonna just press play.
Which is why that's the jump scare you get. So do I think Golden Freddy and Fredbear are the same? Yes, but no. I think that Fredbear was first, definitely.
For sure.
But then Fredbear's Family Diner shuts down, and Spring Bonnie and Fredbear are
Crazy
transferred
music
to Freddy
switch up.
Fazbear's Pizza. Spring Bonnie is used by William to kill kids, and
Yeah.
Fredbear is remade to
God.
resemble Freddy, more like as an alternate version or something. So he's probably that Fredbear in FNAF 3 with the black hat and bow tie, presumably.
Black hat? Black hat. We're all seeing that's brown, right? That's definitely not black. Okay, time for me to do the point of this video. My opinions have changed. I have another video after this. I think it was like released like right the day after this one. Whatever that I made about Golden Freddy not being real. I stand by that in a certain sense. Golden Freddy in FNAF 2, Withered Golden Freddy is definitely a ghost. It's definitely an apparition. I mean, a real physical animatronic cannot have its head in a hallway, and it cannot throw its head at you when it jump scares you. So yeah, I think it's an apparition. I mean, look at the normal animatronics. They have one soul. They're walking around. Charlotte's kind of enlightened. Baby's kind of, you know, they're all self-aware. They're crazy. They can, like, the puppet floats and stuff. You know, they're crazy. Two souls? And not only that, but two souls that are awakened, that are aware? Crazy power. You know? So it's not completely out of the picture for them to be able to astral project or teleport or whatever they're doing. FNAF 2 Golden Freddy is definitely not real. But I do think that animatronic is in the back room. I think it's sitting there, just sitting there, waiting. And it's there. I think that the FNAF 1 Golden Freddy does not actually look like that. I don't think it's actually repaired. Once again, it's all designed by Scott, right? Throw that out the window. I think it still looks like the FNAF 2 Freddy. It's in the back room. It's just there. The reason I think it doesn't look like that, once again, Golden Freddy in FNAF 1 is just an Easter egg, but also isn't in the custom night. You know, considering he is an enemy who can, you know, game end you, you would imagine that he would be in the custom night, but he's not. But Golden Freddy in FNAF 2 is in the custom night and is like a real animatronic. I assume that's because he's in the back room. And he's like fresh out the, you know, I don't know. I just think that Golden Freddy in FNAF 1 is definitely not. It's like less of a presence there, and that's why he's only able to just kind of sit there. And I think he just looks fixed because, I don't know, wanted to fit in or something. It's, like I said, designed by Scott.
In the 1985 location, becomes Withered Golden Freddy in FNAF 2, and then gets repaired in case he is used in the FNAF 1 location.
Not repaired.
So are they both Fredbear? No.
Yes.
Are they both the same basic robot? Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's the theory.
They're both Fredbear. They're all Fredbear. They just got repurposed to be Yellow Bear, the file name, a Golden Freddy, whatever you want to call it. It got repurposed after Fredbear shut down. Is it still the same animatronic? Yes. I think my theory in this, the idea was the same endo, different suits. I think it's the same suit, same everything. Like I said, there's probably, we saw Edwin's workshop. There's multiple versions of this thing. So I think it's the same basic concept just throughout. That's not really a debate, I don't think. Okay, how am I done with the theory and there's like half the video left?
I guess it helps explain why Golden Freddy would be withered in FNAF 2 but repaired in FNAF 1, and why he looks so vastly different between all the different games.
Already explained
That's
that.
the best thing I can come up with, is that he was originally
I was really
Fredbear,
bad at making these things disappear.
Purple bow tie.
That is a brown hat.
When they got retired, they still wanted to use the character, right? Just because the Springlock suits don't work.
This is a very true thing. This is why we see stuff
the character.
from
So they remade him
Edwin's in
into
Security
the
Breach
Fredbear
stuff.
that you see in FNAF 3, possibly, because he has a black hat and black bow tie.
On this note, Golden Freddy actually isn't in FNAF 3, which I have kind of just barely realized. That's kind of interesting that he's in 1 and 2, but not 3. You'd think he'd be in 3 if he's tied to William, and William's literally there. But he's not. The puppet's there for some reason, but Golden Freddy isn't. And yet his mask is there when you do the endings, so I don't know what that's about. I was just going to point out, this Golden Freddy doesn't have buttons, but Golden Freddy in FNAF 2 does, and Golden Freddy in FNAF 1 doesn't. Once again, just to match the style, like it's a stylistic thing.
And then definitely for Withered Golden Freddy and FNAF 1 Golden Freddy, because that's the weird part, is why would they repair him if he's not being used, unless he was.
As they didn't
if he
repair him.
was intended to be used as some form of alternate Freddy, or even as Fredbear. Or maybe they gave him a different name, and he was just an alternate version that they used every now and then, and that's why they made him have a black hat and black bow tie to fit more of the
Brown
brand
hat in that
of
picture,
Freddy
but sure.
Fazbear's, to show that he's different than Fredbear's Family Diner, because they probably want to distance themselves from that, from all the tragedy that happened there.
Tragedy.
Even though a lot of tragedy happened at Freddy Fazbear's too, I don't know how that worked. So yeah, that's
Crazy
it, pretty
audio
much.
switch up.
It doesn't have to be right. I don't have to be right. I don't think I'm right on most of these.
I'm right on a lot of things.
It's always bugged me, and I try to think about logically how it could work.
That's true. I
versus
always
trying to
try to
into
go
the actual
logical
lore
about
and figure
this.
out how it would work. So this is the best I could come up with, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. I mean, it's just a theory, right? A game theory.
Look, there you go. Why does Golden Freddy's hat change color? Okay, hang on a sec. I had to do a thing. Okay, yeah, after watching that, I don't see the hype. I don't see why there's so many comments and stuff on it. It's not that crazy of a theory. For validity, I think, yeah, it still stands pretty well. Do I believe it completely? No. Things have changed, but I believe the basic concept of it, that Golden Freddy and Fredbear are the same guy. I agree with that. For people who in the comments are like, well, in Tales of the Pizzaplex, that this thing was freaking debunked. It's like, dude, when I made this, there was no Ruin. There was no movie. There was no Help Wanted 2. There was no Secret. There was no Tales of the Pizzaplex. These things didn't exist. So, cut me some slack on that. And for those of you who are like, well, Fredbear is 2.365 meters tall, and Golden Freddy is 2.652 meters tall. Shut up. Those things don't matter. I'm doing the absolute cinema pose. Those things don't matter. Okay? Small stuff like that does not matter. This was my era of making small-scale theory videos like that, like Golden Freddy isn't real, like the FNAF 3 ending that we think is canon, not being canon. Those are small-scale things that had no stakes, so if I was right or wrong, didn't change the story. And those are the things that you can't focus on. I see so much, it's an absolute battleground for the one you should not have killed theories. I'm going to say it, Andrew does not exist. Okay, it is Cassidy, and it is the crying child, bite victim, Gregory, David, and Evan, whatever you want to call him. That's it. There is no Andrew. I don't care if in FNAF 3 Happiest Day, there's one kid with an alligator mask, alright? There's no feasible way that Scott, 10 years ago, was like, I'm going to put an alligator right here, so that when I make a book series, my second book series, or maybe it's in Fazbear Frights, whatever, 10 years from now, well, it would be his second or third if you count Silver Eyes. So yeah, the point still stands. He's like, yeah, 10 years from now, when I make this book, people are going to see this, and they're going to go, it was a plan all along. No. Alright, no. It vaguely looks like an alligator. Alright? The books, I don't know how many times you gotta get slapped in the face with it. Tales games? Wrong. Stitchline? Wrong. Okay, the books are parallels. They're made to test out ideas before they get implemented into the game lore. Alright? The books are canon to their book universe. Tales is probably canon to Fazbear Frights. But they are not canon to the games. That is a different canonicity thing. Separate timeline. Similar to the Silver Eyes. Silver Eyes gets neglected so much. I love the Silver Eyes. I think the Silver Eyes is more entwined with the FNAF games than the Tales and Frights books are. Yet, Silver Eyes never gets brought up. Ever. I don't know why. I think it's more relevant than those short stories ever will be. Especially now. Like I said, I went over that theory before. Whatever. The point is, you can't look at these old games anymore as a means of solving the newer games. You just can't. I was really pro looking at the old games back in this era. But as of like the last year or so, I've been really harping on, give them a rest. The first 3 games, maybe even the first 4, but the first 3 especially, just leave them alone. You're not going to find anything else. You're not going to squeeze anything else out of them. They're done. They're done. Leave them alone. They're not relevant anymore. The first 3, that was a trilogy. 4, that was a story. 6, that was the whole thing. We're in a new era. So just give it a rest. Give it a rest. So for the people in the comments of this original video, who are still commenting on it 2.5 years later. For one, what are you doing? But for 2, it doesn't matter. Okay, I probably didn't even believe the theory when I wrote it. So give it a rest. I don't know. Stop focusing on the small stuff. It doesn't matter. I keep rambling because I don't have an outro. Bye.